From the outside, it can seem like the way to wealth is to earn lots of money. However, this is not how most people get wealthy through rental property investing. Cash flow is great. I love it. I invest for cash flow, but significant wealth isn't typically created through earning a whole bunch of money the way most people envision it. Nope, it's actually more of a balance sheet shuffling exercise. Balance sheet shuffling, say that 10 times real fast. I'm gonna explain exactly how it works in this video. Hey, I'm Kirby Atwell from Living Off Rentals, and what I'm about to share is exactly why I always say in these videos that I firmly believe that rental properties are the best investment a person can make. Now, I love cash flow just as much as the next guy. That's why most people get into rental property investing. It's these never-ending checks that just seem to come from heaven and pay you for the rest of your life. It's a great thing. However, it's possible to never make another dollar of cash flow from your rentals and get extremely wealthy from them. In fact, what I'm about to share is how most rental property investors get wealthy from their rental properties. To understand this, however, you have to understand that you're not incurring an expense or making any revenue when you purchase a property. All you're really doing is replacing the cash that you have, whether it's yours or borrowed from someone else, with an asset, the house that you're buying that's hopefully worth more than the cash that you paid for it. It works the same way as if you're running any other business. You're replacing the cash that you have with a product that hopefully you're gonna sell for a lot more than you bought it for. And it works the exact same way with houses. This works much better with rental properties than it does in a lot of businesses though, because until the day you sell it, your inventory is paying you. This doesn't happen in most businesses. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Typically, if you run a business and you buy a warehouse full of raw materials that you're planning to turn into a finished product and sell later, typically you're gonna borrow money to buy those materials. And while that inventory is sitting there, decreasing in value daily while it sits there, you're paying interest on the money that you use to borrow it. And on top of that, you can't rent out your inventory. However, if your business is rental properties, then you are essentially buying inventory in the form of a house below what you can sell it for, and you can usually pretty quickly rent it out for more than what your costs are while it goes up in value. So let's look at an example of how this could make an average person very wealthy. And in order to do that, we need to look at a balance sheet or a net worth statement, because that is how you measure a person's wealth, at least financially speaking. So let's just say your net worth today is zero. So in your asset column, you have $0 worth of assets, and in your liability column, what you owe other people is also zero. But your goal is to be a millionaire. That just means that your asset column has to be $1 million higher than your liability column. Once that happens, congratulations, you are a millionaire, even if your income is $0 a year. Now, if you just picture the asset column as $1 million of cash, which many people do, then the prospect of saving $1 million of cold, hard cash can seem pretty daunting. However, this is not how most people become really wealthy through rental property investing. Instead, they just take the cash in their asset column and exchange it for something worth much more than that cash, and they do it over and over again. So let's look again at our example of somebody who's got a net worth of $0. And let's say they go out and they buy a house worth $140,000, and they pay $100,000 for it. Now, they could either do this by just finding a great turnkey deal that cost them $100,000, or more often, they find something that's beat up for $80,000, they put $20,000 into it, and now it's worth $140,000. Either way, they've got this liability for $100,000, and now they've got an asset that's worth $140,000 over here. So by doing this, this person didn't make a dime of income. However, what they did is add $40,000 worth of wealth to their balance sheet. So that's the exact same as a person who works really, really hard and they save up their money and they're able to accumulate $40,000 worth of savings over a long period of time, except that the rental property investor was able to make that much instantly by signing his name at the closing table. Now, this example is pretty simplified. Ideally, it would be great to go out, pay $100,000 for a house that tomorrow you can turn around and sell it for $140,000. That would be great, but those houses are very difficult to find. They're the most challenging. So typically, just like any other business owner that's gonna buy inventory, you're buying some sort of raw component, or you're buying something that you have to change into a final product that's gonna be worth much more than the sum of what you paid for all the components. So it works the exact same way with a house. If you're buying a house, typically you have to manipulate the house, you have to rehab the house so that it's worth much more than what you paid for it. And the best investors, all they do is just set up a system to do this over and over and over again. So they make $40,000 on one house, $40,000 on another, $20,000 on one, $30,000 on one, and they keep doing it, and after a decade, they look up and it seems like they became a millionaire overnight, but it just took them a decade and they did it over and over and over again. This is why there's that famous saying that you make money when you buy real estate. Technically, you're not making money, but you're exchanging a sum of cash for an asset that's worth much more than that, and you're adding a bunch of wealth to your net worth the day you purchase the property. So if you're looking at life through the lens of, I have to work really hard and I have to make a bunch of money and I have to save it, and hopefully, eventually, sometime in the future, I'll hopefully be really wealthy, understand that there's a much quicker way through rental property investing. It's just taking cash that either you have or that you've borrowed from someone else and replacing it with an asset that's worth much more than that, and doing it over and over again, setting up a system to where you can just keep plugging these assets in and keep accumulating that wealth over and over again. It's what I talk about on this channel all the time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little notification bell next to it so that you'll be notified when new videos are released. Also, I'd love to hear from you in either the comments below, or you can join the Living Off Rentals Facebook group at the link that just popped up, or you can just go over to Facebook and search Living Off Rentals. You can continue watching by clicking on either of the videos that just popped up, and I will see you in the next video.